Israel? Log on to 4IL, download the app, and share the truth.
What now?
Now
we boogie.
Welcome to BDS News, where we pretend to care about Palestinians, but really just want to see Israel disappear. Our first guest today is Mr. Hussein Ranlat, a longtime BDS advocate. Hello, Mr. Ranlat. You are here to tell us about a brand new weapon for destroying Israel through sanctions and boycotts.
Yes, we're really excited about this new model, Kelly. I'm referring to the Tyler 2.0 Progressive, a 21-year-old liberal undergraduate who is drawn to human rights campaigns and social issues.
Interesting. So how did you manage to transform these tendencies into a powerful weapon of destruction?
Very good question, Kelly. Tyler includes a cutting-edge firewall which blocks facts or real information about the Middle East from penetrating the system. We've also disabled the questioning chip, combined with a one-dimensional database. I'm proud to say that he is the ideal blind supporter of the BDS campaign.
Is there any truth to the rumor about recalling Tyler 1.0?
Yes, after detecting a penetration of facts into some of the models, we really had no choice.
Obviously. Thank you. And moving on to our human rights violation forecast, Mitch.
Thank you, Kelly. As we can see on this map, dark clouds of human rights violations are forming all around the state of Israel, and soon it'll be showering war crimes and human suffering. So don't forget your umbrellas.
Can we zoom in a little more, Mitch, to get a better picture?
Well, theoretically, yes, but then the picture becomes more complex and actually entirely different.
Mitch, what are all those red spots around the state of Israel?
That represents the ongoing wars and human rights violations in the Arab countries surrounding Israel, leading to hundreds of thousands of casualties.
And is there any way we can pin this on Israel?
No, not really. You see, actually, Israel
And that's
is
all
in
the time we have for today. Thank you, Mitch.
Israel kills baby seals.
Of course they do. And in sports today, Darren Maxwell is joining us with a new world record. Darren.
That's right, Kelly. We know throwing Palestinians under a bus is a sport mainly popular in Arab countries. But an aspiring BDS team has managed to break a new world record by throwing, get this, 3,000 Palestinians under a bus.
Wow, how did they do that?
By using the boycott technique, they forced a large Israeli company to relocate its factory from the West Bank, thus causing Palestinian employees to lose jobs and become impoverished.
What an inspiring achievement.
Indeed.
And now to a word from our sponsor. This show is brought to you by Jihad Global, sponsoring terror of all form for centuries. And that's it for today. Please join us again tomorrow for another update.
BDS is a transparent attempt to delegitimize the state of Israel. It is blatantly anti-Semitic. It's an anti-Semitic movement that discriminates against one country, Israel, on the basis of religion and nationality. The leader of the BDS movement, Omar Barghouti, candidly admits that the goal of all parts of the boycott is to destroy the Jewish state. He opposes Israel's presence not only on the West Bank, but he opposes the existence of Israel within its own border. The BDS movement urges boycott of all Israeli products, divestment from all companies that do business with Israel, sanctions to destroy Israel economically and politically. The anti-BDS legislation before you protects Nevada's taxpayers' money for being used to support discrimination of Israel. In 2013, Palestinian President Abu Mazen said the following, and I quote, "We do not ask anyone to boycott Israel. We have relations with Israel. We have mutual recognition with Israel. Why? Jewish businesses provide jobs for Palestinians." End of quote. BDS hurts Palestinian workers. Support for anti-BDS legislation has enjoyed bipartisan support. This is not a Democratic issue. This is not a Republican issue. Boycott Israeli products? Let's talk about that a moment. We're going to have to stop using our smartphones because that's Israeli technology. Driverless cars, I'm a little squishy about that, but that is Israeli technology. Cybersecurity, Israeli technology. Water quality and conservation. Talk to the Southern Nevada Water District. Our water district recaptures 93% of all of the water that hits our sewer system. Average U.S. city, 10 to 15%. Why? Because the state of Nevada is using Israeli technology. The brain cap that saved the life of my friend and former colleague, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, Israeli technology. 98% survival rate for our troops serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, due in large part to Israeli battlefield medical technology. I respectfully urge the members of this committee to do the right thing, vote for this legislation, and let's move on to a brighter day and a closer relationship between the State of Israel and the people of the State of Nevada.
I rise today to mark a momentous day. Starting this evening, millions around the world will celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, also known as Jerusalem Day. I am proud to join our close ally Israel and the Jewish people in celebrating this historic 50th anniversary of the reunification of Jerusalem. Half a century ago, overcoming Arab armies intent on Israel's destruction, the Israel Defense Forces liberated the old city of Jerusalem during the Six-Day War. They courageously and miraculously fought their way to the Temple Mount and the Western Wall, the holiest sites in Judaism. The commander of the paratroopers, Mordechai Gur, unable to contain his emotion, exclaimed through his wireless radio, "The Temple Mount is in our hands." The army rabbi blew the shofar, and the eternal capital of Israel was reunited. This war was not the first time that Israel was threatened with annihilation. After the Jewish people established the modern state of Israel in their ancient homeland just 19 years earlier, neighboring Arab states responded to Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion's declaration of independence with an invasion. The Arab armies failed to destroy the newly established Jewish state, but Jerusalem, the ancient and holy city central to the identity of the Jewish people, was left divided and occupied by Jordan. Residents of the old city were murdered or expelled. Jews were prohibited from visiting and praying at the Temple Mount and Western Wall. Synagogues were destroyed, and their cemeteries, such as the Mount of Olives, were desecrated. Access for Christians to their holy sites were also severely restricted. Leading up to June of 1967, Arab leaders repeatedly and openly expressed their desire to wipe Israel off the map. Syria was engaging in attacks on Israel from the Golan Heights and soon started to mobilize its forces for battle. Egypt began moving troops into the Sinai Peninsula in a massive military effort, demanded and achieved the withdrawal of the emergency force that had been stationed in the Sinai, and then closed the states of Tehran, imposing an illegal blockade on Israel and cutting off a vital shipping lane for the Jewish state. Jordan then signed a mutual defense agreement with Egypt. Outnumbered and outgunned and against all odds, in the face of external pressure not to act first to ensure the Jewish state launched a successful preemptive strike against its hostile neighbors and prevailed in a defensive war. When it was over, Jerusalem was liberated, reuniting the city and Judaism's holiest site with the Jewish people, and putting an end to almost 2 decades of exclusion from the old city. Mr. President, since coming under its sovereignty, Israel, the one true democracy in the Middle East that shares our values of freedom, has protected people of all faiths in Jerusalem and ensured their access to holy sites so that they might worship freely. They have protected the rights of Jews, of Christians, and of Muslims. This occurred even while religious minorities were being targeted and persecuted, attacked throughout the Middle East. And religious and historical sites are being demolished today by radical Islamic terrorists. Today is a day where we must also reassert historical truth. The historic connection between the Jewish people and